I've lived in Southern Oregon all my life. Fishing's not just a hobby out here, it's in your blood. My dad taught me the ropes before I could even ride a bike. We'd go out nearly every weekend, always searching for quiet, overlooked lakes. That's how I first heard about Blackwater Lake. It wasn't on any map. It's hidden deep in the Umpqua Forest, about a 2-hour drive from any paved road. No campgrounds, no docks, not even an access trail. A friend of my dad's told him about it in hushed tones, like it was a secret you weren't supposed to repeat. "Good trout there," he said, "but don't stay past dusk." That last part stuck with me. My dad just laughed it off. I was 26 when I decided to head out to Blackwater alone. I'd been laid off, and fishing always helped clear my head. I packed light, a collapsible rod, tackle box, cooler, and my old inflatable raft. I also brought my dad's old fishing knife, though I'm not sure why. The drive was rough. Dirt roads turned into muddy trails. I had to hike the last half-mile on foot, dragging my gear through brush and brambles. But when I finally reached the lake, I stopped dead. It was still. The water was black, not because of pollution, but depth. You couldn't see more than a few inches beneath the surface. Trees hung low around the edge, branches bending toward the water like they were listening. No birds, no bugs, no wind, just silence. I inflated my raft and paddled out to the center. The air was heavy, and the temperature felt a few degrees colder on the water. Still, I cast my line. First few hours were great. I caught 2 good-sized trout and a smaller one I tossed back. But around midday, I felt something change. The water beneath the raft began to ripple, not from wind, but something else, like something massive moving far below. Then came the smell, rotten, sweet, almost like decayed lilies. I covered my nose, but it lingered, thick and cloying. Suddenly my line jerked, hard. I thought I'd hooked a log, but the line tugged again, stronger. I reeled in, slowly. Whatever was on the other end wasn't fighting like a fish. It was just heavy, lifeless. When I finally pulled it close enough to see, I froze. It wasn't a fish. It was a bundle of twigs, tightly wound with lake weeds, tied together with what looked like strands of wet, black hair. At the center was a carved wooden face, primitive, wide-eyed, and screaming. I dropped it immediately. It didn't sink. It floated there beside me, bobbing gently, as if watching me. I panicked, started paddling toward shore, but the raft barely moved. It felt like the water itself was pulling me back. I looked down and saw shadows beneath me, huge, slow-moving. Then something touched the bottom of the raft, just a bump, then again, harder. I screamed and paddled furiously. One of the oars slipped from my hand and disappeared beneath the surface. That's when I saw it. A pale face. No eyes, no nose. Just a gaping, round mouth, wide enough to swallow a man's head. It hovered beneath the raft, motionless, skin so white it glowed in the darkness below. I couldn't move, couldn't breathe. Then it opened that mouth even wider, and screamed. Not a sound, just a vibration. The water around me trembled, my ears rang. I felt my nose start to bleed. I don't remember flipping the raft, but I was suddenly underwater, disoriented. I kicked upward, but something brushed my foot, slippery, long. I broke the surface and swam like hell, crawled out coughing, gasping, bleeding from one ear. I didn't look back, just grabbed my bag and ran barefoot through the woods, leaving half my gear behind. I didn't stop until I saw my truck, drove until I hit pavement, then pulled over and vomited. When I got home, I tried to tell someone, my brother, my girlfriend at the time. They just looked at me like I'd lost it. Maybe I had, but I wasn't the first. I dug through old local forums, backlogged blog posts, even a newspaper clipping from 1978. A fisherman had disappeared near Blackwater. His raft was found with a hole punched clean through the center. No body ever recovered. Another story talked about a pale thing seen by a hunter. Said it glided just beneath the surface, whispering. I haven't been fishing since that day. Sometimes I wake up to find my boots wet, or twigs tied together in strange patterns on my doorstep. Once, I found one of those wooden faces in my mailbox. No return address. I moved 3 towns over, but I know it's still watching, and I think it's waiting for me to come back. I've been fishing at a secluded creek near Coopersville, Michigan, since I was a teenager. My uncle used to bring me there, said the fish bit best near sunset. It's not on any map. You have to hike about 20 minutes through the woods, past a rusted old railroad bridge, then follow a stream until it widens into a slow snaking creek. I never once ran into another person there. This story happened just last fall. I'd taken a Friday off work and headed out early in the afternoon. Weather was perfect, cool, clear, no wind, the kind of quiet you only get deep in the woods. I set up on my usual flat rock on the north bank, threw a line out, and within minutes had a nice base in the cooler. About an hour before sunset, I noticed something strange upriver. There was a man standing waist deep in the water, facing away from me. At first, I thought it was another fisherman, but he didn't have a pole. He wasn't moving at all, just standing there, like a statue, maybe 40 yards upstream. I called out, "Hey, everything okay?" But he didn't answer. No reaction whatsoever. I waited a few seconds, called again louder, but he didn't even flinch. I figured he might be drunk, maybe even injured. So I reeled in my line and walked up the bank to get a better look. But by the time I got closer, he was gone. Gone, as in, there wasn't even a ripple in the water where he'd been standing. Just smooth, dark current drifting by. I stood there staring at the creek for a long time, trying to rationalize it. Maybe I imagined him. Maybe it was a tree stump that caught the sunlight weird. But I knew what I saw. I know the human shape. That man had been there, waist deep, unmoving and wrong. I shook it off and told myself I was just tired. Went back to my rock and kept fishing. Sun was dipping low behind the trees now, and the air had turned cold fast. Then I heard it. A splash. Not a little one, like a fish breaking the surface. This was big, like someone had jumped in from the bank. I snapped my head toward the sound. Nothing there. Then another splash, even closer. And then, like something straight out of a nightmare, I saw fingers. Pale fingers curling around the edge of the rock I was sitting on, gripping it tightly from beneath. Then a second hand joined it. Slowly a head rose up from the water. Eyes wide open, skin gray-blue, like it hadn't seen sunlight in years. No expression, just watching me. I froze. The man, if it was still a man, didn't speak, didn't blink, just stared at me with a kind of hunger I've never felt from another person before. I backed away slowly, step by step, not daring to turn around. Then he lunged. I took off through the woods, nearly tripping over roots and brush, crashing through undergrowth in pure panic. I didn't stop running until I was back in my truck, gasping for air, hands shaking as I jammed the keys into the ignition. Back home, I tried to tell myself I'd hallucinated it. Maybe it was stress. Maybe it was a prank. Someone living off the grid. But the next day, I couldn't stop thinking about it. I told my buddy Luke, who lives nearby and knows the area. To my surprise, he didn't laugh. He got real quiet and then said, "My grandfather used to tell a story about a man who drowned in that creek back in the 50s. Said he went in drunk and never came out. Search crews never found his body. He used to say the man lived in the water now, waited for people to be alone." I haven't been back since. There are places out there nature has reclaimed, places where something else might be waiting. I thought I knew the woods. I thought I knew that creek. But now, every time I hear water running, I feel watched. Don't go fishing alone. Not there.